Hello Year 8. So for homework you should have come up with your own graffiti tag, which could be your name, your surname, your nickname, maybe a food that you like. It could even just be a bunch of letters that you think look good together. But you should have your graffiti tag ready to go because we're going to be doing some online graffiti today. So first, let's start by going to this website, which is www.graffiticreator.net. There's a link in the previous page. And we're going to begin making our digital graffiti tags, which we're going to use in our artworks a little bit later on in a couple of weeks. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need to do is have a working version of Adobe Flash. So you probably need to download the most current version. I'll put a link on this page just in case you need to. I'll also put a link on the page for the Adobe Flash uninstaller, because if you have an older version you'll need to get rid of that before you get the new one. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of firstly how to use this program, but also what makes a graffiti tag. So what elements does it have in it? So firstly, when you're on this site, there's a whole bunch of different styles you can choose from, and they got some pretty cool names. There's Kodiak, Jedi Mind, Bubbles, Chrome 5, Mind Gem. There's a lot of them, but what I'm going to show you today is Kodiak. So if we click on load, and this will help us make our own graffiti tag online. So a lot of us, we're not, great graffiti artists. It takes a long time a lot of practice as well to kind of really master that. So this is a cool little program that does all the hard work for you, but you still have to make some aesthetic choices there. So the tag I have come up with is a very creative one. It's miles. So if I write miles in there and then click create, you'll see that my tag is up here. And straight up, I don't really like the letter spacing here, so I'm just gonna move the letters around a little bit just to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. And you can do that as well. Okay, so just move them so they're in a aesthetically pleasing position. Alright, so when we look at a graffiti tag, and this is what's called a piece, it has a few different elements, and all graffiti tags have this. So we've got the fill, which is the main color of the graffiti tag. We've got the outline, which is the dark color that kind of, outlines the different letters that we've got. We have got an aura, which is a color that goes around the outside of the outline. We've got a background and a shadow, so that gives the illusion of 3D, and it gives the illusion that the tag or graffiti piece is floating off the surface it's been painted onto. And then there are some other elements here. So we can have a sunrise, sunset, which is basically a fade in the fill color from top to bottom. So what I'm going to start off with is the fill, and this is the base. So I'm going to start off with maybe a light pink there, or maybe a dark pink. Fill at the top, we're going to have just a little bit of a different color. And this is all down to you playing around and experimenting, but color choice is really important here. So try and think of contrasting colors that kind of sit next to each other on the color wheel, and don't really try and use every color in the rainbow, or it's going to look really jumbled. So there we go, I've got my top fill and my base fill. So if I put a sunrise, let's put in, because it's pink, we might go for a really light green color, because that kind of sits opposite on the color wheel. And a sunset, we'll just do a little bit of a darker green. And you can see here we're kind of fading between those spectrum of colors. So the next thing we can choose to adjust here is the 3D. And we can kind of do that by playing around with these tabs here, but we can also do it by selecting colors there. The other element we can have is stripes. So these are just little, fun little decorations in here. So if I was going to choose a color, You know, you can just kind of play around until you've found one that you like, but that looks pretty good. You can add more stripes, but just be careful not to kind of get confusing here, like don't overdo it. Bubbles, I like a bit of bubbles on my graffiti, so I put some yellow ones in the bottom and some orange ones at the top. Highlights, gotta have highlights. So I'm going to go with a lime green highlight. Outline, going to keep it black but add a little bit of green in there. And a key line. So a key line's a line that kind of goes around the piece, and I'm going to make mine a yellowy red. And then we've got shadow. So that's the kind of dark areas there that make it look like it's 3D. And the solid background, I'm going to choose a nice contrasting color there to make it really pop off the page. So there we go. So as you can see, I'm really happy with that that graffiti tag. So now what we're going to do is take a screenshot of that, because we're going to be using it in our design. So to take a screenshot on a Mac, you just press Command-Shift-4, and we're just going to get a good distance around the outside of it. And we can edit this later a little bit in Photoshop as well, so don't stress too much if it's not the perfect photo. And that'll save to your downloads. Yeah, so that's how to use this website. Have a play around, different color combinations. I mean, it's hard to look bad unless everything's the same color and then it's just a jumble of colors, but keep the contrasting colors in mind, so colors that are opposite each other on the color wheels, or harmonious colors as well, they tend to work quite well. And any problems, let me know and I'll sort you out. Alright, thanks guys.